What's up, guys? Ben with 2020 election predictions, and I just wanted to go live on this Friday night. A lot of things have happened since yesterday. The RNC got wrapped up. The betting odds have changed tremendously. This has even surprised me before. I had predicted that Trump would probably bounce back as of late June, and it happened probably a little bit later than that, probably a little bit more into July. But I really didn't expect for Trump ever to go above Biden again in the betting odds. And right now, Trump is just right there. I mean, I think that we will see in the coming week that the betting odds will be the exact same. I do think that the last sign of the RNC probably will help Trump. I thought that he was pretty disciplined, that he stayed on script. And I think that Trump's advisors around him have kind of told him that he really needs to get on script, that he's down in the betting odds right now. He's down in the polls. And the only way that he's going to mount a comeback is if he's disciplined and he's not like his kind of usual Twitter self. So we will definitely see if this is enough for Trump to kind of overcome how he kind of has been down in the past. But it will be really interesting going forward to see how much kind of an RNC bump that the incumbent Republican Donald Trump gets. We saw that after the DNC that Biden didn't get any sort of bump. In fact, he only kind of fell in the betting odds. But right now, we've seen when Trump was at his worst, he was down by about 25 points in the betting odds, and now he's within 5 points. And I mean, I think that there are a lot of factors. And honestly, I really kind of expect it to kind of stay where it is right now. I think Trump could overtake Biden in the betting odds, but I really don't think he's going to go that much further. I think right now, Trump is riding a lot of momentum. And I think that kind of people are kind of riding this train. But still, if we look at the groundwork of the polls, we aren't seeing a ton of movement in the Rust Belt. I did see one poll out of Michigan that actually had Trump up 2 versus Biden. This is definitely an outlier, and especially just out of all the Rust Belt states polled, I was surprised to see that Michigan was the one that had Trump leading, because I think out of the Rust Belt, like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, that Michigan is the most Democratic leaning. And I really just don't think that Trump has a chance right now. I think that Biden is going to be able to solidify his support, especially among African Americans in the state of Michigan. But we will see. Okay, so I'm going to go to y'all's chats in a little while to answer some questions. And I do just want to remind y'all, or I don't even know if I've announced this yet, that I've added the super chat feature. So you can see kind of under the chat where it says the $sign, and you can kind of just add that if you want to. I don't want to press you into doing that, but that's something that I've added. And I'm going to do something special for everyone who super chats. I'm going to write their name down, and I'm going to send them a message personally later. And I might start like a little like Discord chat or group chat that I can just kind of talk to y'all on a more personal level about politics. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm doing that. But all right, let's go into the chat questions. So if you have any questions right now, you can just go to the chat. So if Trump win, what do you think if Trump wins, what do you think he would work on? He did come out with a 2020 agenda. I haven't really looked at it closely. I think what kind of the main focus of Trump's 2020 campaign is going to kind of try to be distance from China. I mean, he definitely was focusing on this in 2016. Kind of, he wanted to bring the jobs back from abroad. He thought that kind of these trade deals hurt him. Sebastian, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I really, really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get the ball rolling. Now, I'm going to write your name down, and we're going to I'm going to start a little group chat with all the people who I'm going to do that. But anyway, as I was saying, in 2016, this was a major theme of the Trump campaign, that he kind of wanted to bring these jobs back, that especially these manufacturing jobs. The factories, especially in the Rust Belt, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, have been hollowed out because of a lot of globalization. The just basically that labor was being shipped overseas because it was cheaper. And I think with the coronavirus, I definitely think that Trump did not take it as seriously at first, but I think where he can try to spin it is saying that, look, Biden has always been in China's pocket, which I mean, I don't think is like necessarily untrue. I mean, not not to say that like Biden is buddies with China, but we did see a report out that said that the Chinese government, the Communist Party in China, is going to try to help Biden win, and we also saw that the Russian government was going to try to help Trump win. So I don't know I don't know the degree to which these things will be true. But it's definitely something to look out for. So I definitely think that one of Trump's kind of main agendas in this 2020 campaign is to really try to get jobs to come back to this country and be hard on China, because I think China. I think that both parties now realize that China is kind of the growing threat. They're growing at a huge pace, and I mean we've seen with a few smaller things like this whole TikTok controversy that like China is a growing threat, and I think especially with kind of these new tech companies coming about, that U.S. data can be under threat. So I think that's one thing that probably Trump will definitely focus on in his 2020 campaign, and I think it's pretty evident what Biden is going to focus on for sure. He's I think climate change is going to be his main one, racial equality. Whatever form that takes. I think he wants to raise taxes on the rich. And there's just several things I think we know that Biden's going to do. So have you looked into the Trafalgar group? They were very accurate in 2016. I have. I've saw that they've come out with a batch of polls, especially in Michigan, that had Trump up too. I really don't buy into this poll right now, just because out of the aggregate of all the polls, this poll is definitely an outlier. So I definitely at this point I don't think Trump is up in Michigan, but what it shows overall in the whole of the Rust Belt, that Trump might be improving. So this might be one out of many polls that we will see in the future that suggests that Trump might win. Let's see. It was an outlier in 2016 then. So, I mean, look, I mean, I definitely don't know, because, I mean, in 2016, the polls were so wrong in the Rust Belt, so I honestly might trust this poll more. But I would definitely want to look at more polls. And these other pollsters said that they've changed how they do these polls. So I'm definitely going to look more into that. But, I mean, the 2020 election is going to come down to like one or two states in the Rust Belt and Florida. I think Florida right now is the most important state. But if we see evidence that Trump is actually up in Michigan, if he wins Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, then technically he doesn't need Florida. But I think right now Florida is a lot more winnable than Michigan. So both campaigns should definitely invest a lot into Florida. Let's see. Who do you like better, Trump or Biden on policy? I really try not to get into individual politics. I'm just kind of trying to be here to analyze the election. And I will say, if like I think effective campaign strategy is working. However, I don't want to comment on like whether I like conservative or liberal policy. So Trump has a rally right now up in New Hampshire. And by the way, were you sick? I'm not sick, so I don't know what that was all about. And Sebastian, thank you so much again for the super chat. I think it just expired, but you've been one of my day one fans, and I'll definitely reach out to you personally. And if anyone else wants to do a super chat, you just click the I think just the $sign down there, even just a sticker, just to say hi. Really appreciate that. All right. I think Biden will win, but it will be very narrow. I think this was definitely going to be a narrow election. I think back in June and July, people definitely thought it was kind of going to be a blowout by Biden, but I think just at the evidence of the last couple of days has shown that this election is going to be a lot closer. And in fact, I don't have it on right now, but I'm going to try to do it where I can share my screen and do the live stream so I can kind of show you what I'm looking at. But looking at Real Clear Politics right now, we can see that the betting odds, I mean, are just changing super, super fast. So even just from today to yesterday. So we can see yesterday the odds, it was a 9-point difference, a 9-point spread. And today we are at like a 7-point spread. I mean, no, a 6-point spread. And I think part of that has definitely got to do with some of these new batch of polls, especially out of Michigan. I mean, we see in this last poll from Michigan from the Trump, I don't want to discount it just because it's the only one saying it. I think it definitely lends more credibility overall that it is the but because it was so accurate in 2016. But we see that Trump is at 47, Biden at 45, and that John James is at 48, and John Peters is at 47. And John James, who is he was the Senate candidate in 2018 and kind of seen as a rising superstar for the Republicans. And I'm actually pretty surprised that John James did not speak at the RNC. I thought he could have kind of been one of the keynote speakers, but he was not there. And let's see, have you watched Red Eagle Politics or Let's Talk Elections? If you have, what do you think of their analysis? I do watch them. I try to kind of offer my own analysis. I'm not trying to copy them, but I do have a lot of respect for Red Eagle Politics and Let's Talk Elections. They're a lot bigger than me. They've been around before I was, and I'm trying to try to follow in their footsteps. But I think that I can try to offer a unique perspective that's different from them. I think everyone has their biases, and I don't want to speak too much on my they really even aren't my competing channels. I mean, we're kind of all doing this together, but I try to be as unbiased as I can on my channel, and I think that you can see with watching Red Eagle and Let's Talk Elections that they definitely have a little bias there. But I think having a little bias is fine, and I have a small bias too. So these new polls are very right wing. I do agree with that, but we have seen some evidence just overall that Trump has been improving. I mean, probably not as much as we've seen kind of in this one poll from Michigan. But this is definitely like kind of just going in the right direction for Trump. I mean, just if we purely look at kind of some of the last polls from Michigan, we see that Biden's up by 4 and 6 points, which is still a lot better than than Trump was doing before. So Trump might not be up by 2 points in Michigan, but we still don't want to discount this poll entirely. So I think Trump is improving. He's probably still down by a couple points, but I mean, Trump was down in the polls across the board in the Rust Belt on election day, and he won. And if we simply kind of just look at like the Real Clear Politics out of these states, we have Biden's up by 2.6 points in Michigan, and this is a lot less than Hillary Clinton was up in 2016 for sure. So someone says, I think that Biden is doing bad because of the violence in Wisconsin. And it's not saying no. Also, the vice president pick and Trump was doing bad because of the virus and the economy. So I don't want to comment a lot on like kind of the specifics of like kind of policy, but Biden did come out condemning the violence yesterday, I believe. And I mean, some of Biden's critics said, oh, look, he's only doing this now because he's realized that he's falling in the poll numbers. This might be true. One kind of talking point on the right is that Biden wants to defund the police and abolish the police. That isn't true as of now. Biden could kind of, if he kind of gets controlled by the more radical element of the Democratic Party, they might push him to do this. But as of now, Biden is not trying to defund the police. And I really don't know if it's going to be an effective talking point for Republicans to kind of go on this kind of this law and order thing, because I really don't know if it's going to work, because I feel like kind of some of the swing voters will see right through it. But however, if people are kind of in the middle of these riots, if their businesses are being destroyed, if they live in cities where they're seeing this, then I think for sure that politically that those voters will probably be more inclined to vote for Trump, just because he is a lot more willing to condemn the riots, the looting, the violence. Let's see. He said in an interview that he thinks they should be more funded. So I haven't really looked at the specifics. I think that in one interview, Biden said that some of the police funding should be allocated to different things. So definitely not that the police should be defunded, but I think that could be a kind of a huge kind of talking point of the 2020 presidential election, is what is the role of the police? How can they be fixed? One thing I thought was very startling is that the NYPD, which is from a pretty Democratic city, endorsed Trump pretty publicly. And some police groups that did not endorse anyone in the 2016 election have now publicly endorsed Donald Trump, which I think it could mean a lot, but we will see how much that it does. All right, so I'll probably keep on going for about 10 to 15 more minutes. I would love to answer some more questions. I like doing these types of live stream just because it allows for more interactions. And if you have like a really, really pressing question, you can always do the super chat right there. So I'll definitely focus on you more. So far, the only person who is super chat was Sebastian, but I really appreciate him. I'm going to reach out to him and just kind of thank him for all that. So, all right. Someone says not the whole NYPD. It was just the union. Well, most of the NYPD people are part of that police union. So, I mean, I definitely think that's pretty startling when they've never really endorsed a presidential candidate before. Let's see. I think Biden is too old and moderate to defund the police. I do agree with that sentiment. Probably. I think that if Bernie Sanders were the not nominee, then there would definitely be a maybe more of a push to try to at least like defund the police. Like probably not abolish the police, because I think people realize that that's just completely not realistic at all. But I think maybe he would try to kind of cut some of the funding for the police. Let's see what Sebastian said. I'm a fan now and will always be a fan. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Definitely for Bernie. Yeah, that's what I was saying. What do you think of Trump's speech yesterday? Well, I think that Trump actually performed well. I thought that his let's see. Just looking at my phone real quick. I think that Trump actually probably did pretty well in the speech. He stayed on script, and I thought that his speechwriters wrote him a pretty good speech. I think he was he was more focused in the speech, and I think that if the Trump in the speech yesterday, if he continues that for the rest of the election cycle, then I think that he will probably perform pretty well. However, knowing Trump, I bet he's probably kind of going to go off script and maybe distract himself. So you'll see. All right, another super chat. Why does New Hampshire vote so differently from Vermont? So there are several reasons for this. So New Hampshire has been traditionally a state that's like pretty moderate. And what's actually pretty interesting is Vermont and New Hampshire both have Republican governors. They are both very moderate governors, so more kind of left on social issues, but kind of more right on more fiscal issues like lower taxes, less regulations for businesses and such. But New Hampshire has a tradition of electing moderate Republicans. So Susan Collins from New Hampshire, she's been there for a while. No. Sorry, Susan Collins is from Maine. I know that y'all are definitely gonna go into the chat to correct me for that, but I think that just geographically that Vermont is kind of a little bit more southern and it's a little bit more densely populated than New Hampshire. It's kind of closer to New York and kind of some more urban areas, and that New Hampshire and Maine kind of vote a little bit more in tandem. I mean, we saw that Donald Trump in 2016, I mean, only lost New Hampshire by a couple thousand votes, and he came pretty close to Maine. However, in 2020, I actually think that Biden will probably outperform New Hampshire in or will outperform Hillary Clinton in New Hampshire. But I think that New Hampshire and Maine are both states that kind of have swung right a little bit. But we will definitely see. I definitely think that New Hampshire could be a swing state, or more of kind of a swing red state in the future. I think that kind of more of the kind of Rust Belt states that kind of have a high white population, like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Maine. I mean, these were all states that have been traditionally Democratic, but I think with kind of Trump's more of an appeal kind of to the white working class voter, I definitely could see him up or the Republican Party in general kind of picking up some of these states and having them trend right. All right. So what do you think about DC becoming a state? How do you think this will affect the Electoral College? I don't think that DC is ever going to become a state. Obviously, I think people on the right, the GOP senators, are always going to vote against it. And I think you're going to need, I think probably over 66 votes in the Senate. I think you're going to need a constitutional amendment, or you're going to need 2/3 of the House and Senate. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you can't just do that on a simple procedural vote. I don't think it's going to happen, but DC is already in the Electoral College. They get 3 or 4, no, I think they get 4 electoral votes. Typically, it doesn't have a lot of impact just because it's so heavily Democratic. It hasn't decided an election yet. I mean, in 2000, Bush v. Gore, if it had more electoral votes, it definitely could have decided that. I think that is already baked in. One thing that DC statehood could affect is the makeup of the Senate. We would have 102 senators, and I think that would be a little bit awkward. I wonder how they would do that because 100 is such a round number. I really don't see it happening, but we will see. All right. DC and Puerto Rico for statehood 2026. It could happen. I mean, we haven't had a new state since in about 75 years. So I think it'll definitely be very hard. But we will definitely see. Someone says Trump should give up on Arizona. It doesn't look good for him here. I really don't know. I think Trump should definitely be laser focused on Florida just because it has 29 electoral votes. You could be right that he could have a better shot in some of these Rust Belt states, just because Arizona has trended left so fast. But I think with Arizona having a Senate race and a presidential race, I think both the RNC and DNC will be investing a lot of money in there. And I still think that Trump is going to outperform Martha McSally. So I don't think necessarily Trump should give up for it because it has the Senate race and the presidential race. I kind of think that the Senate race is kind of over at this point. I really don't uh, really think that Martha McSally has a chance. But however, on the presidential level, I think Arizona is a pure swing state. I mean, I think if the Senate race, if there isn't a lot of split ticket voting there, then I could definitely see like Mark Kelly helping Joe Biden on the ticket and Martha McSally hurting Donald Trump. But if the Senate race weren't happening at all, I would definitely expect it to just be a pure toss up. And maybe just because it's been so Republican in the past, maybe it would tilt Trump. But I think because of the Senate race right now, it tilts towards Joe Biden. Florida, Georgia, Ohio, and Wisconsin are the only states that I think Trump should win. Well, even if he wins all those states, that doesn't get him to 270 of electoral votes. Even with North Carolina, he's gonna have to win either Arizona. If he won Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Arizona, that gets him exactly to 270. But if he loses Arizona and wins all the states, then he has like 260. So he would either have to win like Minnesota or Pennsylvania. So I mean, Trump's path to 270 votes, I think, is pretty narrow, but it was also narrow in 2016, so we definitely shouldn't count him out there. All right, I think I'm going to stay on for about 5 more minutes. If you have any last super chats, any last pressing questions, I'll probably spend the rest of the time just on that question. So please get your super chats in here now, and I'll answer them before I sign off. Probably a little bit after 30 minutes. Let's see, we're going around about at 27 minutes. So, and thank you to everyone who's joined my live stream. If you have any suggestions on my live stream, I would love to see them. And yeah, sounds good. All right. So any last pressing questions, and I will answer them. All right. Florida is a toss-up. Biden is favored to win there. Biden should not focus on Georgia or Ohio. Yeah, I don't think the Biden campaign should focus on Iowa, Ohio, or Georgia, or like Texas. I really just don't think it really matters there as much. And like Biden gets to 270 by winning 2 of the Rust Belt states, or that Trump won in 2016, or winning Florida. I mean, there's a lot of paths to victory for Biden, and I mean, they don't go through Ohio, Georgia, Iowa, Texas. I mean, they don't really even go through Arizona. But right now, I don't have a Twitter account that y'all can follow yet, but I'm thinking about making one, just so that I can kind of maybe explain more, like maybe a little bit more of my personal opinion. I try to remain unbiased on this channel. I'm curious to know if you're a Republican, Democrat, or consider yourself independent. I try not to get into my personal politics. So yeah, I'll just kind of leave it at that. Wow, is that actually Red Eagle Politics? That would be really cool. Great to see your channel growing. Keep it up. All right. Well, thank you, Red Eagle. That is definitely huge. I don't know if that's the real Red Eagle, but I do watch Red Eagle channels on occasion. Same with Let's Talk Elections and election predictions officials, Red Donkey projections. I think all of them are very, very well done. So I appreciate all those people. All right, well, I'll probably go in 2 minutes. If any of y'all have any super chats, you can just click the $ right there. But I'll probably get. I mean, okay, look, I mean, I don't. Yeah, all right. Anyway, yeah, but last questions, or I'll probably sign off right now. So I'll wait 30 seconds until we get to 30 minutes. Let's see. I think that the betting odds right now are definitely kind of one thing that I will focus on going into the future. Kind of like, where do people think the odds are going in the future? Let's see. I've watched one of your videos and your information was more accurate than mine, so I edited it. You do your research very well. Well, thank you very much, Red Eagle. might actually ask, do you want to do a collab? What happened to Bernie was the nominee is what someone asked. I think if Bernie were the nominee, that I think actually Trump would have a better chance of winning. Right now, I still think that Biden is a little favored to win, just because I think he's kind of seen it more of this moderate candidate that can kind of return the country to normalcy. However, if Bernie were the nominee, I think it would be very close. I think the 2020 election would be even more chaotic than it is right now. I mean, we think it's chaotic now. I think there would just be a lot of people in the middle just left, like, not knowing what to do. Like, I really don't know what the Lincoln Project, like, I mean, I would presume they would probably support Bernie Sanders, but I mean, it's really kind of hard to know. But I think that a lot of people who kind of just are maybe like never Trump conservatives, they would have no idea what to do, because I don't think they could stomach voting for Bernie Sanders. Well, I think they probably could stomach voting for Trump. I still think it would be close, but like I think in states like Florida, when you kind of have a lot of like more moderate people, and especially people who are economically pretty conservative, I think they would have a hard time voting for Bernie Sanders. I think that Trump would probably win. Thoughts on the Trafalgar poll? I've kind of already talked about this in the past, so you can go back and watch the live stream. All right, guys, I think I'm going to sign off right now. Really appreciate y'all joining. I'm going to try to do a live stream at least 3 to 4 times a week. And I always do my videos every day. So those are about 10 minutes long. I'll probably have my live streams about 30 minutes long. So if you'll have any suggestions, please leave them in the polls. And I will see y'all later. Thanks, guys.